So I'm Beau Wagner. I'm a dugout canoe carver, and I was trained in the Stennis territory. My father is from the Fraser River, and my mother's side, my grandmother's from South Ontario. She's a Ojibwe. But I was a live-in apprentice for 5 years with Master Carver, and I witnessed carving right from a very young age. I did silver carving, and all through high school, I been working with cedar my whole life. And as a young one, I just loved the forest and playing in the forest, and I did classes with learning about plants and medicines and trees, and grew up just knowing, feeling that sense of belonging in the forest. So I wanted to create a curriculum that was based around all these life events, and I feel that Cedar and Me is a perfect opportunity to share my passion and all my work that I've been doing with Cedar. So now I'm taking all those ancient teachings, and my master has been passed now for 3 years, and all he wanted was to get these teachings back to the children. He was always so concerned for the living that if he didn't share those stories, that our young ones wouldn't get to learn them, and that we'd become completely disconnected from the planet that we're living on. We encourage the children to bring food down while we're telling stories, and we tell stories and talk to them in a kind and loving way to let them know that they belong, that we care for them, that they've always been loved. And so as they eat, they take those good feelings in. And so the cedar tree is the tree of life. You can use all of the tree, the roots. You can weave into clothing, in baskets. Our old ones, our ancestors, could weave a basket so tight with the cedar root that it could actually hold water. And so the bark can be peeled and made into clothing. The boughs can be used in a brushing ceremony. They remove pain and sorrow. You can also boil the boughs until the water turns dark red. And you can, if you have a sore body and if you bathe in that cedar water, it will remove pain and sorrow. If you look over there, there's all green and life and all different kinds of plants and diversities. There's salmon berries, there's blackberries, himalayan berries they're called, salmon berries, huckleberry, all the different ferns.
Land-based learning, we call it. We're letting them know how rare this is amongst the school district. This is probably the largest forest any of the schools has, and a resource material for learning. There's so much here.
Beautiful.
Anyone remember what kind of fern it is? The bracken fern. And in the spring, what can be the top of the fern called?
The fiddlehead.
The fiddleheads, yes. And that's in some countries in Tibet. It's by the mountains on the other side of the world. They live on those in the spring. That's all they have for food, because they haven't got grocery stores or nothing. So they go look for fiddlehead ferns, and they collect them and they eat them. And that's what they fry them up for food. Yeah, so we have lots of them growing here. But remember the other kind of fern that's back here? I call them like a palm tree. Yeah, and you can remember what they're good for?
The blackberries.
Yes.
And holding salmon.
Yes, and holding salmon on the table. Wow. See, we're quizzing you guys, and you guys got all that memory of it all. That's important.
As we're in our sacred ceremonies, we always go counterclockwise. And what that means is that we're stopping our physical time and starting our physical journey together. And so as I walk around the children counterclockwise and telling them stories and good feelings and letting them know that they belong, that we're surrounding them with kindness, all those good feelings goes into the cedar, because the cedar is very absorbent. It absorbs every single word that you speak. And so as we put out good energy and good thoughts, it's going into each of those little canoes and it's filling them up. So when we take those good feelings home with us and hang it on the wall, and they know the story of the canoe, where it came from, it fills their whole house full of love, joy, and kindness.